Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at gcnlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Watch the greenbacks tumble.
Most days, John, our engineer, and I have a few minutes to chat before the broadcast. And many days it ends the same way. Okay, we're going live. And then my response is, do we have to? Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? I've got an extra drop of bliss on right now. I do. And your dial set correctly to USAPrepares.com. We're delighted you're here. Broadcasting 2 hours from the Missouri Ozark Mountains. If you'd like to call us, we'll pay for the call. 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. And there's a link to all of your instructors on the website, USAPrepares.com. John's engineering the broadcast. Captain John Ragan's with us. Welcome, Captain John Ragan.
I think you always use extra bliss when I'm on, don't you?
Yeah, I do. So John, I got to tell you a story. Our son bought some pickles. He knows I love pickles. I really do. And so he bought a case of these pickles from a company called the Brine Company. And our other son and I were in the kitchen yesterday, and he said, "So, Dad, I'm going to throw these pickles out and make some room in the refrigerator." And I said, "Why would you do that? They're full jars." And he said, "Have you tried one?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, go ahead." And so I tried one, first jar, took out one of these pickle spears, took one bite through it, and I immediately spit it out. And I don't like talking about like this on the air, I don't, but I did. I didn't even get to chew it. Just one bite through it. A pickle spear. In the trash it went. So he said, "I told you." And so I said, "Wait a minute. Let me try another jar. A different style. Same thing. Next jar. And these are pickled beans, long beans. They look, and by the way, these all look beautiful in the jar. Same thing. So there's 4 jars. I couldn't eat any of them. And I love pickles. And I was thinking that what we need is an expert in pickles to come on the air and teach us how to make pickles. And I thought these guys would be the guys. So I called them up. I looked up their number. It wasn't on the jar. I looked up their number on the internet. I called them, and I got this very pleasant person. And I said, "Let me explain this." And he said, "I'm sorry you don't like the taste." I said, No. It's not like I don't like the taste. These are not edible. You can't eat these. And he said, and he apologized again for me not liking the taste. And I said, "No, it's not like, I'm trying to tell you that I'm not trying to game you. I'm not trying to beat you out of anything. I just love it when American business succeeds, but you guys are not going to be able to succeed making pickles like this. These are awful. Or the batch is bad." So I gave him the batch numbers, the lot numbers, and he said someone would call me back. That hasn't happened yet. So that's why I'm talking about it. I wanted to give them every opportunity. Well, I didn't give them every opportunity. I didn't give them a month, but I figured they'd call me back the same day. That didn't happen. So I'm talking about it. Brooklyn Brine Company. Now, I don't know if all their pickles are like this, but the jars that I've tasted are not edible. So now the question is, what do we do when we have a product that we pay, good money for, hard-earned money for, and it's not usable? The only thing that's usable in these jars is the jars. That's it. That's it. I would have thought that he would have said something like, "I am so sorry. I'd like to offer you a refund. Would that be okay? I'd like to offer you replacement pickles. Would that be okay? Let me look up the transaction so make sure I have the right address," which really means I just want to make sure you're not kidding me. I want to make sure you actually bought them. But that didn't happen. So that's the Brooklyn Brine Company. So I went to the internet and I did some research about, opinions. And all the reviews said they were just great. Awesome, 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 awesome. Except for one. And that guy had the same exact reaction that I did. Horrible. Those are not his words, but these are not what he expected. He said, "Don't buy them. Save your money, don't buy them." So I think we need to help businesses that do a good job, talk about them, and talk about companies that do the right thing, and then talk about companies who don't do the right thing. So maybe if the Brooklyn Brine Company calls me and I'll tell you whatever they tell me, I'll tell you what they say. But I haven't heard from them yet. Yesterday, John, I was in the farmhouse, and our neighbor came over. And he said, "Do you have a wrench between these two size wrenches?" He had two small wrenches, and he said he wanted to change the battery in his car. And he needed a wrench, and he needed a long extension for a ratchet set. So my son was in the kitchen with me, and I said, "Sure, we'll help you." And he said he was at this company in Lebanon, and they said, "Here, you're having trouble starting your car. Take this battery. Take this brand new battery, put it in, and see if it starts your car. And then if it does, drive it over here and we'll take a look at it." And they didn't charge him for the battery. They just said, "Take it, see if it works. If it works, we'll charge you for it. If it doesn't work, bring it back." That was Sawyer Tire. And the same guys that I talked about. And I didn't realize he was a customer of Sawyer Tire. And that's where we had our alignment done. So I just wanted to share that story. Now that's the opposite side, where there's a company that's working hard to gain the trust and of their customers. The opposite side of what we experience most of the time, where we're taken advantage of by so many companies. John, you have any thoughts on that?
I just want to add another story. I use the Doctor's Best brand of supplements for some of what I order, and I tend to get those from Amazon. And I've read stories where people have received counterfeit supplements from ordering from Amazon. And I got these 2 bottles of supplements, exact same supplement, and the label was slightly different. So I was wondering, are one of these a counterfeit? So I went to their website and filled their contact form, described the differences, and it was just a few hours later they said, "Nope, they're both good. It was an older label, and you just got caught in transition there." So it was to have that kind of quick response, I thought was great.
Yeah. Well, all right, since we're doing these stories, in our barn, I wanted to have some lighting, and I bought a case of porcelain lamp holders. Bought them on eBay. And a case was about 50 of these things. And they were made by a company called Pass and Seymour, U.S. company. Well, they used to be. And they were great. And I needed some more, so I bought another case of 50. And they were completely different. The porcelain was poorly sprayed on. It was there were bubbles and dimples and bumps in it. And it was very poor quality. And the box was completely different. And I thought, these must be counterfeit. So I called up Parsons Seymour, corporate headquarters, and I talked to their marketing guy, and I said, I just want you to know that I think these could be counterfeit. And he talked to me for a while, and he said, yeah, we're going to look into it and send me pictures, and we'll get back to you. They never got back to me. And that is typical. That's the typical response that what I get when I call these companies. They're really interested, or so it appears, but they don't get back to us. They just don't. And maybe they don't care about counterfeit. I would think that they'd be really concerned about it, because would I want to buy another Parsons Seymour product based on that? Absolutely not. If they're working hard to stop counterfeit products that have their name on them, I'm certainly interested in doing business with them. But if they're not, I'm not interested in doing business with them, because I don't want to buy products that could be counterfeit. That's just one more way America's falling down, John. And it's all around us. Where would you like to start today?
Well, let's do a quick drought update before the break gets here. We've got the updated reports. California, we've actually got the northwest corner not in drought, so just a little over 1% of the state. The rest of the state, not really a whole lot of change, and it's probably going to be a rough summer, but at least they're starting off with some water there. Texas, the Panhandle and West Texas are a little bit worse, not tremendously. Less than 9,000 people in drought. Actually, it's just, drought, 0.68%. The rest is abnormally dry, about, 13.5% roughly. So, well, depending on what the weather patterns do, it's been wild, and it looks like we're going to see a lot of seesawing for a little bit here. We had some storms come through here Wednesday night, and while they weren't really considered severe storms, they did come with hail, and there were a lot of front and back windshields and skylights and things of that got busted out.
Yeah, we've had high winds here, and I talked to some people on the East Coast, and they had high winds there too. It was unusual. I was thinking about the trees, and I hope the trees stay upright in these high winds. We'll be right back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now, with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
Hey everyone, with 20 plus years as a radio host, I've seen about everything. One thing that keeps recurring, though, are these timeshare charlatans. These high-pressure salespeople who get folks to come out to some resort for a special weekend offer. Then they get them in a corner and browbeat them and coerce them into buying a timeshare they don't need, they don't want, and they can't afford. And then they're stuck with that thing forever. Monthly payments, mortgage payments, annual fees that keep going up and up. Well, up until recently, people thought they couldn't get rid of these things. You can't get out of the contract. You can't get out of the deed or the membership. Well, that's not true. My friends at American Consumer Credit, a timeshare release company, can get you free. That's their personal guarantee. 12 years in business, free consultation, A-plus rating with the BBB. They're the real deal. You want to get out of your timeshare contract? Call them now. 800-587-EXIT. That's 800-587-3948. 800-587-EXIT. Call now. 800-587-3948.
For the most amazing, calming, brain-stabilizing, blood sugar, and natural addiction-breaking formula, try CalMind. Anxiety melts, panic is gone, sleep is restful, and you'll stay calm during stress. Better than booze, mind-altering drugs, or anti-anxiety, antidepressant, toxic medications, CalMind lubricates your mind so you'll sail through the day effortlessly. Order Dr. Bill Deagle's Nutridyne at 888-212-8871 or NutriMedical.com and listen to the NutriMedical Report every weekday on the GCN Radio Network. NutriMedical, bringing nutrition and medicine together.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body Brain and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Captain John Ragan's with us. TheFinancialStateOfTheUnion.com is the website. And I'm at the news tab right now, TheFinancialStateOfTheUnion.com. I've clicked on the news tab, and that's where we have the resources for today. So the links, if you'd like to do some in-depth study on your own, that's the place to start. Okay, Captain John Ragan.
Well, I was listening to the show with Dr. Richard Allen Miller yesterday, and it clicked with something that we talked about Monday, and it's really not a great topic for Good Friday, but might as well get into it anyway. Rick talked about sex magic and how at the moment of orgasm, what you are thinking about is what gets manifested. And that just clicked with what John Robertson presented about Hollywood at the Hear the Watchman conference. And unfortunately, if you want to listen to that, about all you can do is you can order the DVDs for the conference from the Hear the Watchman website through Sunday. That's the 27th. You can get them at the conference price of $75 plus shipping and tax, depending on where you live. And that's 10 DVDs, all 3 days of the conference. And if you miss out on that, you can always buy them for $100, but you can, say the $25 if you order them now. And I get nothing for that. It's just letting you know. And I didn't really have time to give more background when we talked about that on Monday. And I think some people might think that the sacrifice of babies for Hollywood films seems a little excessive, and surely the authorities would notice that these children have gone missing. Well, this is how the whole situation works, because you have families that are part of kind of like Rosemary's Baby, long-term, satanic families. And they'll take a young girl, take her out of school, basically, in essence, lock her away, keep her out of the public. And she's probably about 14 years old. And they'll bring in, whether you want to call him a high priest, a warlock, whatever. So somebody that, would be skilled in the sex magic. and impregnates this young woman. And then they have a Wiccan midwife come in to deliver the baby. So there's absolutely no record that this baby even existed. And then it continues on with what we talked about Monday. They will use a smaller statue of Moloch and sacrifice the baby. And it's not just for Hollywood films, of course. They'll do this for other things. And it also doesn't matter whether or not you believe in Satan and magic and things like that. The key is that they believe in it. And it, like I say, it's a disgusting topic, but I get frustrated that, the churches don't talk about, what our enemy is doing. And we're now at the point where one survey says 60% of Christians don't believe in Satan. And if you're in a battle and you have your opposition believing that you don't even exist, how much easier does that make it on you?
John, as you're saying this, I've been thinking about, and I've also been thinking about this for the last several months, about these women in Hollywood, how they feel they need to have injections and augmentations and shifting of the body, highlighting certain features of their faces, and they're having all kinds of surgeries. They used to call that plastic surgery. And then we have, I saw a picture of an actor. He was on the beach yesterday. He has boobs. He has boobs that teenage girls would envy. Unbelievable how the transformation of these Hollywood people, how they're willing to look like this, how they're willing to have surgery to change how they look. They think for the better. In the long run, they look horrible.
Planning to buy food storage? Wait a minute. Many companies try to confuse you with the number of servings they sell. It's not about the number of servings, it's about the number of calories. In emergencies, calories mean survival. Go to ReadySupplyFoods.com for a comparison of leading companies. Ready Supply Foods sells the most calories per dollar of any company. Our 23 entrees and breakfasts are delicious and full of nutritious calories. The new leader in value and quality. Go to ReadySupplyFoods.com today.
Before using Heart and Body Extract, my energy level was very, very low. I could only walk a few feet and then would have to sit down. I was tired and lethargic. But after taking Heart and Body Extract, my energy level has improved greatly, and I can now walk longer distances without getting tired so fast. Thank you, Heart and Body Extract.
Learn the secrets of an effective, natural, 100% organic nutritional supplement for a healthy heart and circulation at hbextract.com.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
No other network provides the level of customer service we do. When it comes to radio advertising, we are your one-stop shop. And no matter how big or small your business is, we can help. Email us at advertise@gcnlive.com, and an experienced advertising executive will help you take the first step towards driving more customers to your business or website. Advertise@gcnlive.com. Easy, affordable, effective.
Hi, Pat Matthews again. I want to talk to you about selling online. And when I say selling, I'm talking about your home, your car, and even buying a house or a new set of wheels. There's a new kid in town, and that's buysellmakeoffer.com. The revolution has already begun, and I invite you to be a part of it. You see, get in on the ground floor because buysellmakeoffer.com never charges item fees. Can you imagine what the other guys might charge you for selling a car on their site, let alone a house? Well, buysellmakeoffer.com doesn't do that. And you can use Skype and YouTube videos to sell your products, big or small. Go right now to buysellmakeoffer.com and set up your account. For as little as $7.95 per month, you can sell up to 50 items, and they'll give you the first 30 days free just to try it out. Remember, no per item fees. Join the revolution today. buysellmakeoffer.com and tell them Pat Matthews sent you.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
It's no secret that pathogens such as bacteria, viruses, molds, and fungus can inflict severe damage in the human body. Fortunately, a new and vastly improved silver solution has been developed. Supernatural Silver is a revolutionary broad-spectrum antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal solution that can be used inside the body as well as on the skin. Supernatural Silver is unique and superior to colloidal and ionic silvers, using a patented technology that is highly effective against colds, flus, infections, food poisoning, and yeast, in addition to many other pathogens. Supernatural Silver is scientifically supported, extremely safe, and is the #1 choice of thousands of people for immune system support. Find out how Supernatural Silver could change your life. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code HEALTHY for 20% off. That's supernaturalsilver.com. And like us on Facebook.
Captain John Ragan's with us. John, you remember the story about Bob Estep, one of our students and instructors. He's been to a bunch of our expos and meetups, and he's been, when I was on the radio station in Springfield, Missouri, he'd come in with an announcement about property rights and those kinds of things. Well, he was tased in Sparta, the city of Sparta, Missouri, by a cop, young cop, Andrew Spencer. Well, the story continues. And what happened was we exposed this and we gave out the phone number of the mayor and went to the alderman's meeting, and we were stonewalled, and about 25 of us from the meetup group at USA Prepares went to the city of Sparta's alderman's meeting. Well, ultimately, the police chief resigned. And then Andrew Spencer, the cop who tased Bob Estep in his car, was fired. Ultimately, the police department was disbanded. Andrew Spencer tased allegedly 3 other people. But what got him was when he had a dog. He responded to a call about a dog, and he got the dog in a cage, and then he got a call for an automobile accident, and so he decided that he would just shoot the dog. So he killed the dog and then went on to the automobile accident. And ultimately, the Sparta City Police Department was disbanded. So it looked like that's good. Now, it's a good start. What they should have done was disband the entire city. The charter should have been revoked, the corporate charter. But they didn't do that. The state didn't do that. So the city of Sparta is still in operation. I learned yesterday or the day before that they hired a new police chief. And he's going to just hire one guy. And it's always the same story, but this guy's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He's going to be a great cop. He's going to really want to help the people. And he's a really good guy. And the reason I'm mentioning that is I'm looking at a post on the internet about and this NYPD, New York Police Department. Here's the headline. NYPD cop shoots dog dead at point blank range with a single bullet to the head, even though the beloved pet was not attacking him. The closed circuit TV footage shows NYPD officers shooting a 4-year-old pit bull, Spike. The owner opened the door after hearing some commotion outside. Beloved pet playfully wagged his tail, approached the cop, and then the video shows the officer shooting dead the dog with a single gunshot to the head. The police have not apologized, and NYPD refused to give the name of the cop involved. So the Post wants to know, do you know the identity of this cop? And you can email the author of this article. I'm going to post it on the website, usapreparedness.com. These cops are shooting and killing animals just without any punishment. Now, my question to the class is, okay, so we're walking along and we see one of these canine dogs with one of these men in the blue clown suits. And the canine dog just growls a little bit. And we go, oh, you know what? I'm afraid that I'm going to get bitten by that German Shepherd. So we, the villagers, draw our handgun and shoot the dog. Now, what would happen? What would happen if we shot one of their dogs? One of the dogs that is handled by one of these guys in the clown suit. I'm talking about the police uniform. Because you take that gun away from them and they look like clowns in those suits. Their hats. Their boots. They look like clowns. And the only reason I think we behave around them is because they'll kill us if we don't. This is an outrage that this cop shoots this dog dead. And I got to tell you, if someone in one of these clown suits comes on my property, trespasses on my property, and shoots one of my animals, it will be terrible for everybody. And I think the same reaction should be for all of America. It should be terrible. There should be hell to pay. These people should be accountable for their actions. But that doesn't seem to be the case. These cops seem to be immune from prosecution. John, what do you think? What do you think would happen if one of the villagers shot one of the canine dogs, that was handled by one of these guys in the clown suits?
You know what would happen if you survived, you'd go to jail.
Right. So let's use those same rules on them. And I can see it. I can see this coming. I can see the villagers setting up their own courts and using the same tactics that they've been taught by the government. Well, they come in at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, so I guess that's what we do. I can see this happening. I can also see it happening if Donald Trump has all the delegate votes and he's not the nomination for the Republican crime syndicate. And we're learning more and more every day that it is a crime syndicate, and so is the Democrat Party a crime syndicate. We're learning that. We're learning that it's rigged. The elections are rigged. We're learning that the things that we've been talking about are absolutely, positively true. Young people think that, they're told to think that their vote counts. It's important. It's a charade. I don't believe our vote counts. John, do you think I'm off my rocker?
I was reading this morning where they've changed the convention rules again. And going back, I guess, his last election, the rule is you had to win at least 6 states to be considered. And when Ron Paul hit that level, they upped it to 8 states. And of course, the only person that's going to have 8 states is Trump. So what they've done is they've done away with the rules so that they can manipulate the convention more.
Right. I want nothing to do with the Republican crime syndicate, nor the Democrat crime syndicate. For me, it's a waste of time. Absolute waste of time. And by the way, I would like to see, of those who are viable candidates, I would like to see Donald Trump be president of the United States.
It's kind of like when you see who all's against Trump, you almost just have to be for him.
Right. Right. And it looks like, what was that post I was reading this morning about? It seems like Netflix is behind Hillary Clinton. So the big companies are behind the old guard. Hillary Clinton for president? Come on. Just by the fact that her husband can't keep his zipper up should make us cringe at the thought of those two in the White House again. Just the thought of that.
And
then Ted Cruz.
She used to fly out to Hollywood to join with her witch friends.
Mm-hmm. And how about Ted Cruz? Doesn't he support GMO foods? Doesn't he support not labeling foods that have GMO content? Isn't he the guy that says that if you're against GMO science, you're against you're an anti-science zealot? Isn't that the guy? You know, if GMO, boy, I'm angry. If GMO foods are so great, why aren't they proudly advertised on the label? This product contains GMO ingredients, if they're so good. Why do they have to hide it? Because it's dangerous. I'll bet if we had a survey and the survey said, do you have more gas than ever before? More people would say they have more gas than ever before than those who say, no, I don't have as much gas as before. No, I'm not talking about gasoline. I'm talking about a byproduct of digesting these foods that our digestive system can't seem to handle very well anymore. Franken foods. We've allowed ourselves to get to this point. You know, and it reminds me, John, of that guy who came to my house who he was just grinning like the cat that just ate the canary, and you know he was really proud of all the accomplishments that Obama has made. He just thought it was great. He's great for business. He's just a wonderful guy, and it made me sick. And from that point, I decided anyone who votes for the regime that wants to steal from me is not my friend. He's in the camp of the enemy, and I don't want those people in my house. If they've made a mistake and they go, wow, what a dumb thing I did, it's a little bit different. But for someone who's proud of the fact that he voted for Obama and that regime is not my friend, I don't want anything to do with them. If they have a business that supports Obama, I absolutely, positively would not shop there. I'll vote with my wallet. Class, we need to say no. A lot more. A lot more. John, I mentioned, and while I'm on this rant, I mentioned Orscheln and how they didn't treat my property, my truck, very well months ago when they were loading it. And I called corporate headquarters. And then the store manager called me. Well, I talked to him. I went there a few days ago. I said, wow, what a change. Yeah. You know what he did? He cleaned house. He listened to the suggestions that I had, and he cleaned house. He fixed the store. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from IronEdison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of IronEdison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our IronEdison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I've found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at IronEdison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Don't know what's in your drinking water? Better get a ProPure. With the Pro 1G 2.0 all-in-one filter, remove over 200 contaminants, including fluoride and lead. Taste water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure water filtration products. There's a ProPure system for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details on our current free shipping special or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPuruSA.com.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX or my website, danpilla.com.
My computer is so slow, it's making me crazy.
I used to have that problem.
Did you quit using a computer or did you buy a new one?
No, I called Geeks On Site. They made an appointment to visit my home and showed up the same day.
You mean they didn't ask you to bring your computer to a shop? That's what happened when I called a support company.
Geeks On Site can go to your home or business or even repair your computer online. They have 24/7 emergency service.
If you're having problems with your PC or Mac, call Geeks On Site, 1-800-591-1682. Our friendly certified computer repair experts are available 24/7. Call now for a free diagnosis, 1-800-591-1682. Data recovery, virus removal, and maintenance for all laptops, desktops, printers, and networks. That's Geeks On Site for friendly certified computer repair experts available 24/7 over the phone or in your home or business. Just call 1-800-591-1682. That's 1-800-591-1682, 1-800-591-1682. 1682.
Are you worried about how dangerous the world has become? In these days of terrorist attacks, natural disasters, or even a future collapse, you need to be medically prepared to keep your family safe. I'm Joe Alton, MD of store.doomandbloom.net, where you'll find an entire line of uniquely designed medical kits and supplies for when help is not on the way. For everything from individual first aid kits to the ultimate family medical bag, go to store.doomandbloom.net today. That's store.doomandbloom.net. You'll be glad you did.
You know, John, I was I was doing a quick search on the internet. I wanted to see what would happen if I typed into a search engine animal cruelty. And it says here, animal cruelty is when someone hurts an animal or does not care for an animal responsibly, like not giving a dog or cat food and water. It's against the law to be cruel or harm animals. even your own pets. It's also called animal abuse or neglect. Let me read just a little part of that again. It's against the law to be cruel or harm animals. That's what that cop did. The ultimate harm. He shot the dog in the head. So, I posted it on the website, class, if you want to read that article, usaprepares.com, page 1. John, back to you.
Well, before we run out of March, I want to wish you a Happy New Year. And,
thank you, John.
You know, people might think this is a bit strange, but I'll explain that shortly. And in conjunction with that, I just want to say it kind of just, seems wrong to me that, here Sunday we're going to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus, and yes, that's important. But my question is, why are we celebrating the resurrection before the crucifixion? Because Passover isn't until April 22nd at sundown. And that gets back to our pagan calendar. And on the pagan calendar, March is the first month of the year. And of course, March is for Mars, the god of war. And I don't want to get into the whole rundown there because there's so much news that we didn't get to Monday that I'm trying to figure out how we're going to get to in the second hour here. But I did write up a post. It's called Words Mean Things. So if you go to my website, at the top there's a search box. And if you type in Words Mean Things, you'll find that post. And it will talk about our pagan calendar in a way you probably haven't heard before if you're new to the show. And it's just really great, all the idolatry we commit, mindlessly with that calendar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, oh boy, there's so much news. In SpyTech this week, I got an article in the Prime. Prime numbers aren't as random as thought, and they found patterns. And another thing I found is there's a box at the bottom there where they've revealed the largest prime number ever identified. And it looks like, based on the number, that they've probably identified over 74 million of them. And this prime number is more than 22 million digits long. We can't even begin to imagine that. And the way they got to it is multiplying. I guess this is where the number comes from. They multiplied 2 together over 74 million times and subtracted 1. Don't try that. Don't try that with your calculator.
Can't do it. You can't do it.
Once you get up to about 256 or 512, one of those two, it's just going to kind of puke on you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now they've got bionic tissue that will send live data to doctors and even release medication. It isn't that great. They just install this in you, and now your body's reporting into the central command, and whatever medication they want to release, they can do it remotely.
Yeah, and they can do it based on what they think you might be thinking. Yeah. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? And we're bashing down the wrong doors. And even, Google's now being blamed for cops going to the wrong doors. And Google's being blamed for destroying the wrong house. Yeah, bulldozing the wrong house. Oh, I thought Google told me this was a house. Sorry. We'll be right back after top of the hour news and commercial announcements. I'm Vince Finelli. Captain John Ragan is with us. This is USA Prepares. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
Hi, my name is Nick Lupo. One World Whey has been by far the best protein that I've ever had. I take it 3 times a day. Once in the morning as soon as I wake, once for a pre-workout snack, and once for a post-workout recovery drink. It has helped me transform and sculpt my body into what I have now. I began taking the product about 2 years ago, and boy, let me tell you, I'm in the best shape of my life. I've seen major muscle mass gains and have 0% body fat. I have had people at my gym ask if I compete in bodybuilding because of how lean and muscular I am. I used to suffer from everyday aches and pains from hard manual labor my whole life, and arthritis that runs through my family. But One World Whey has helped me take that everyday pain from a 10 to a 3. Some days I feel no pain at all, just full of life and energy. It has also helped my skin look younger and healthier. Thank you, Synergistic Nutrition, for One World Whey.
Call 888-988-3325 or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworldwhey.com.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Blockit Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockitPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockitPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockitPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Everyone all set? Cocked, locked. Our number 2 of USAPrepares.com. Captain John Ragan's with us, and his website is thefinancialstateoftheunion.com. Captain John Ragan, I just got off the phone with Sam Bushman. And for those of you who are new to this class, you know, we broadcast from 9 through 11 o'clock a.m. Central Time on Genesis Communications Network. And then the broadcast is played tape delayed on AM, FM radio stations. And it's also played on Republic Broadcasting Network and Liberty News Radio. And Sam Bushman is the owner of Liberty News Radio. And he's been to our farm. I've been to his house. We spend a lot of time together. We talk on the phone a lot. And he's just a good guy. Well, he made national news. He interviewed Donald Trump Jr. And they say the news reports all over the internet are saying that Sam Bushman is a racist. So I was on the phone with him, and he goes, "Hey, they say I'm white, but how do I know for sure? Because Sam Bushman's blind." So to him, white and black, he's never seen colors. So he doesn't know. And they're calling him a racist, which is unbelievably, oh, well, I guess we could say it's humorous. I've never seen that in Sam Bushman. Never. So I asked Sam if he would come on the air with us on Tuesday, and second hour, Sam Bushman is going to talk about the Donald Trump Jr. interview and the emails and the threats and all that stuff. But he said in his in this piece, he said the interview was incredible. We talked about all kinds of things. In fact, we're going to play the interview back so you can hear it. Okay, people are kind of hinting that they don't want us to play it back. I don't take directions very well from these thugs. And here's the point. Some of the words that our friends and instructors use, we're starting to use more of the same words. Where have you heard, I don't take direction very well? Right here, right, John? We don't you know
that remark.
We do here at USA Prepares. I mean, one of the single threads that's common to us is none of us takes direction very well. That's why we're a problem for the establishment. If we don't think it's right, if we don't understand it, unless there's a gun pointed at our heads, we're not going to do it. You know, it's not about money. It's about principle. It's about honesty. It's about integrity. And that's why so many of us don't like the current regime, because they lie and cheat and steal. Just, John, since when has the government ever, before now, since when has the government ever said, if you don't do this, we're going to fine you? I'm talking about Obamacare. Since when has the government made you buy a product? Since when? Since Obama. And auto insurance, right? They want you to have. You don't have to. I mean, you can post a bond, but if you don't buy Obama's insurance plan, you will be fined. And I know a number of people have called me and said that they've received fines from this plague we have in the White House, the golfer and his roommate, the vacationer. Never reelect anyone. Okay, John. Where would you like to begin for the second hour?
Well, we were in spy tech, and let's go ahead and finish off the category.
Okay.
Stacking memory. And you may wonder, what the heck does this have to do with anything? And I have to explain the difference between hard disk drives and SSD drives. SSD drives are made out of basically flash memory, similar to what you've got on your USB stick that you store stuff on. And it's much quicker than disk drives. And the reason for that is, even though they're fast, compared to electronics, they're not fast. That drive that has a platter in it, spinning at least 3,600 RPM. Some are spinning 7,200 RPM. They've even got some faster than that. And then the data is written in various tracks, and there's one read-write head on an arm, so it has to position itself to the right track before it can do a read or a write to the disk. Again, in human terms, it's very fast, but in computer terms, it's very slow. And to give you an example, my first job in the Air Force was computer resource utilization analyst. I did computer performance management of all the military airlift command's mainframe computers. And for the Honeywell computers that we had at the headquarters base, I had good stats on how long it took to execute an instruction in the processor versus how long it took to access a place on disk. And when you do the math, if I believe it was if the processor were geared up to where that process instruction took 1 second, something that we can understand in human terms, then that access to disk would occur a day and a half later. That's why the computers could do multiple jobs at one time, because you don't just do one instruction, you do a lot of instructions, then you have to access more disk, and while that part of the computer is handling that, you can turn your attention to another program. Well, with the SSD drives, all that latency goes away, and it's just a matter of accessing the memory. And with this stacking of the memory, they're going to be able to really expand the capacity. And where this comes into play in spy tech is when they're capturing all this audio and video, they need to store it somewhere. And this is going to give them even better resources to store that and retrieve it quickly. So that's why it's brought up here in spy tech. Now, as far as it goes for your computer, hey, these are great. They really speed up things. Very quick booting time. What used to take minutes is done in seconds. And the good news is, well, even right now, you can get these for about twice the cost of a hard drive. And with this technology, they say they'll be able to bring it down to where these drives will be less than a rotating disk. So, yeah, you can use them, but they're also going to be used against you. And sliding on down.
And that's a huge concern, John. It seems that whenever technology is developed, the government wants to be able to use it against us, and they plot and scheme to figure out how they can spy on us even more. There's no question about it. Everywhere we look, John, even when I do a search, I did a search on a motorcycle back tire. Now, everywhere Dennis Kirk. It's a motorcycle supply house. Everywhere I look, I now see Dennis Kirk ads. All I wanted to do was get a back tire for a dirt bike so I could go check the cows. The last one lasted since 1991, and I need a back tire. Everywhere I go, it's Dennis Kirk. Maybe what we should do, John, to fight back is maybe we should use this broadcast and say, okay, let's do that, and let's click on their ads and just cost them money, because these ads keep popping up everywhere we go. And if we all did it as a group, the bill that they would get from the ad services company would be enough to get them to say, you know what, we got all this ad expense. People are clicking, but they're not buying anything. Maybe we should stop it.
And let me tell you what I've noticed. I use two different browsers most of the time. I go back and forth between Chrome and Firefox. Some things do better in another browser versus the other. And I'll do certain searches in the Firefox because I go through, one of the search engines that helps to protect your identity. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that when I've searched on something, actually gone into the site, like Amazon or whatever, and looked at a product, that when I go back to Chrome, those ads that follow you, guess what? Mm-hmm. They followed to a different browser.
Yep. Yeah. Well, let me share something else. So yesterday, I was in the kitchen, and I decided that I was going to get some fuel filters. And I found a listing on eBay where a guy was selling a lot of them. A lot means more than one. I'm not talking about, a large number. I'm talking about he was selling them by the lot. And it was about 12 of them. And all 12 of them, one price with shipping included. And they would cost me about $4 a piece, somewhere around $4 a piece. And I thought, that's great. I'm all for it. So I clicked, it was a buy it now. It was not an auction. I clicked, put it in my shopping cart. And I thought, okay, I think there are a couple other things I'd like to get for the farm supplies that we need. And I'll pay for it all at once. Then my son called me and he said, hey, Dad, eBay's having a sale and you can get a percentage off. Well, I didn't get that email from eBay, but he did. And I said, okay, well, tell you what, let me give you this number, and why don't you buy it since you'll get the discount that I don't think I'm going to get. So I gave him the number. Now, I had it in my shopping cart, and all I had to do was click Pay Now. He goes, okay, I got it. And he was on the phone with me, and he said, okay, I just bought it. And I said, wait a minute, it's in my shopping cart. Well, he said, yeah, well, it's not yours until you pay for it. So if you think that you've got it in your shopping cart and you're going to pay for it in a little bit, and someone else can buy it while it's in your shopping cart on eBay. No kidding. I saw it happen live. We'll be right back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from ironedison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of ironedison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our ironedison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at ironedison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
My name is Don Wiskin. In 1994, I lost my 62-year-old father to complications of bypass surgery. In 1977, my 44-year-old brother was found dead in his apartment. He suffered a heart attack. In January of 98, my mother had a stroke and passed away in her bed. 21 days later, my 53-year-old brother passed away on his arrival to the hospital. He waited too long. In June that same year, I almost joined them at 42. What did I do? I took a 7-herb formula I now call Extendivite, made from garlic, cayenne, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, hawthorn, milk thistle, and valerian. Based on German studies of natural medicine, Extendivite is designed to clear blocked arteries, clean the toxins from your blood, and improve your immune system. To get your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit our website, heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
We use mobile devices right against our bodies every day, but growing scientific evidence has emerged showing serious health risks associated with exposure to EMF radiation emitted from these devices. The solution is Defender Shield, the most effective mobile radiation shielding ever developed. Defender Shield blocks virtually 100% of EMF radiation from cell phones, tablets, and laptops, and starts at just $64.99. Buy now at DefenderShield.com. For 10% off, use promo code GCN. DefenderShield.com, the worldwide leader in mobile radiation shielding.
Hey everyone, with 20 plus years as a radio host, I've seen about everything. One thing that keeps recurring though are these timeshare charlatans. These high pressure salespeople who get folks to come out to some resort for a special weekend offer. Then they get them in a corner and browbeat them and coerce them into buying a timeshare they don't need, they don't want, and they can't afford. And then they're stuck with that thing forever. Monthly payments, mortgage payments, annual fees that keep going up and up. Well, up until recently, people thought they couldn't get rid of these things. You know, you can't get out of the contract, you can't get out of the deed or the membership. Well, that's not true. My friends at American Consumer Credit, a timeshare release company, can get you free. That's their personal guarantee. 12 years in business, free consultation, A+ rating with the BBB, they're the real deal. You want to get out of your timeshare contract? Call them now. 800-587-EXIT. That's 800-587-3948. 800-587-EXIT. Call now, 800-587-3948.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS?
Get on board with the Tax Admiral. Don't take on the IRS alone. I'll cut penalties and reduce your overall tax bill. Sometimes I can even get it zeroed out completely.
We're an A-rated company helping people clean up their mess with the IRS.
If you owe $10,000 or more, then call the Tax Admiral.
Call 800-287-7180. Again, that's 800-287-7180. 800-287-7180.
Captain John Ragan's with us, and we're at the financialstateoftheunion.com. John, where do we go from here?
Let's go down to the control section, mile markers. Mm-hmm. And we've had states talk about this. Now we have the Congressional Budget Office suggesting that, perhaps the federal government should start charging people based on how far they drive. And, of course, when you do that, that means you either have to have one of these modern cars that already have, enough technology in them that can pretty easily integrate this. Or if you want to keep your older car, it'll have to be retrofitted with the technology to keep track of your mileage and be able to report in. And this kind of dovetails with the UN Agenda 21, 2030 stuff, because, you know, they want to get everybody into metro areas because, you know, people outside the metro areas, they can do silly things like raise their own food and be self-sufficient. And it's harder to track them because, you know, lower population density and it's a large area, so it makes it more expensive to do all the surveillance. So, you know, people might resist being forced into the metroplexes, but, you know, if it becomes so expensive you can't drive your car, and especially when you're in a rural area and have to go to town, you know, it's you know, that's not a 2 or 3 mile trip. It'd be so expensive that you can't afford to do that anymore, and you'll be forced into the cities without them passing a law to do so.
John, when I go to town, I just get in my pickup truck. You know, I plan the trip. I make sure that I make the journey count. Make sure I have a list. Make sure I check with every member of the family if they need anything. Or, you know, they're certainly invited to come with me. That's how we do it. But I don't take an entourage with me. I don't call all my neighbors and say, hey, I'm going to town, and would you like to, listen, we can leave. We'll all meet at our place, and we'll all go at the same time, and we'll have this little train. But that's what Barry does, right? When Barry goes someplace, there's a whole train of vehicles, armored vehicles that goes with him. Not only that, when he flies someplace, he brings his own vehicles. I saw an image of him in Cuba. He brought his own armored vehicle so he could ride around Cuba. And now we're talking about these Congress thugs want to charge us by the mile, but they're also already charging us for the fuel. We pay state sales tax for the fuel we buy by the gallon, and we pay federal tax for the fuel we buy by the gallon. So we're already paying 2 taxes. And then the companies that manufacture the fuel are paying taxes. The companies who deliver the fuel are paying taxes. The companies who sell us the fuel are paying taxes. And we're paying taxes on the money that we earn in order to buy the fuel. We've already been taxed a whole bunch of times on that same fuel. And now they want to figure another way out to tax us even more for our travel. It's an outrage. It's an absolute outrage brought to us by, now who would that be? That would be the Republican and Democrat crime syndicates, right? Isn't that who brings us this?
Yes, you aren't being taxed enough.
Right. And Hillary, who wants to be president, I don't have the exact quote, but she was talking to a foreign dignitary, and she told him, if it moves in the United States, we tax it. If it doesn't move, we regulate it. Now, what's left? Either it moves or it doesn't move, right? I mean, that's it. That's it. And I remember, John, I remember being on the East Coast and them saying in the state, you know, we got this budget shortfall, and so we're going to have to just have a temporary sales tax, which is 0.5%. But it won't be on food. No, because that's a necessity. We're not going to tax necessities with sales tax, just a temporary tax. So from 0.5% all the way to 8%, 9%, it just keeps going. At what point is it going to be over 50% tax? Well, if you add up your income tax and all the other taxes you pay, it's over 50% right now. We'll be right back.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Imagine a pill that can improve your focus, your memory, your sleep. A catalyst to improve your brain chemistry. Dr. Bill's Cognition Plus is truly the smarter in an hour pill. A combination of amino acids, trace minerals, and B vitamins, Cognition Plus is made with specialized herbal extracts that will enhance and support brain function. Our customers say,
I feel more focused.
My memory's getting better.
I can work longer with more useful hours.
Power up your neurotransmitters that have been depleted, like dopamine and norepinephrine. Stimulate the release of others, like serotonin and oxytocin. Improve circulation and energy production. Protect your mind and your loved ones today. Order Dr. Bill Deagle's Cognition Plus at 888-212-8871 or go online to NutriMedical.com. That's 888-212-8871 or NutriMedical.com. And listen to the NutriMedical Report every weekday on the GCN Radio Network. NutriMedical.com, bringing nutrition and medicine together.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
Is negative content or comments on the web affecting your personal or professional reputation? Unfavorable comments, embarrassing pictures, videos, legal documents, and negative articles can ruin your personal life, your career, or your business. It happens a lot, and it's just not fair. But what can you do? ReputationDefender.com can help protect your good name. Get a free consultation now. Call 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Call right now for a free expert reputation analysis. It's easy to squash the unfair attacks with our patented system, and the analysis is absolutely free. Make the best things about you jump out in searches. Protect your personal and professional reputation, your business, and your income. Get your free reputation analysis from ReputationDefender.com right now. Call 800-831-0771. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com today.
Are you looking to sell body armor? Want to make extra money selling body armor at your local gun shows? With low minimum buys and great returns, KD Armor is the answer. Make money in your spare time. It's American-made body armor with the quickest turnaround in the industry, which means you get your product when you need it at very competitive rates. And they'll ship it to you for free. If you own a business, give them a call today at 855-488-KD. That's 855-488-2284. Or go to KDArmor.com. Come and take it.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich? Working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare? Having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Captain John Ragan's with us, thefinancialstateoftheunion.com. You know, John, you're talking about this article with from the Congressional Budget Office with Chad Shealy. He's the Deputy Assistant Director for Microeconomic Studies. So this guy wants to tax us more, but and there's a proposal that says, or actually that we have a draft bill called the VMT, which is the Vehicle Miles Traveled Tax. But he says it's not a tax. It's not a tax. These are just ideas in an attempt to make the federal highway spending more productive for the economy. And in that, there are ways of adding more toll booths, taxing us by the mile, and he says it's not a tax. That's one of the things that government is getting more, I won't say more efficient, but they are using they're twisting words. These are taxes, and they're saying, no, they're not taxes. They are taxes. I mean, one of the most dangerous things to do is have toll booths where you've got the traffic flow, and all of a sudden you stop it, and then you start it up again. And there's all kinds of merging and changing lanes, and we can't even seem to paint the bridges, John. But yet we're installing cheese graters. We're doing all the wrong things. The wrong things. And this guy, his suggestion is, well, we can fix it if we just had some more money, right? Isn't that what this is all about?
Yeah, just be thankful we don't get all the government we pay for.
Wow. Can you imagine that? Yeah. Good point.
Speaking of the government getting in our lives, the other article under control, order your supplements now. We've got a new FDA head, comes from Big Pharma, and there was a change to the law back in 2011 that apparently he's going to start doing surprise inspections of supplement manufacturers. And basically what they've done is to make it to where these manufacturers need to be producing in a facility of pharmaceutical quality. Now, keep in mind that, the pharmaceutical industry kills tens of thousands of people a year. And occasionally they do get a fine, but it hardly even makes a tick on the profit and loss. And at the same time, the government will send in SWAT teams to a farmer that's selling natural milk, and nobody gets hurt. Don't try to make logic out of it. It's the government.
And John, you're speaking of as someone who has seen the government in action firsthand, working at the Pentagon. You saw it.
Back then, it was kind of tame.
Yeah. I just wonder I saw the local sheriff's deputy car about midnight in our little town. There's an intersection. There's a gas station. This is just outside the town. There's a gas station. There's a church. And so this cop was in the intersection at night, about midnight, lights off, hiding in this parking lot, watching the cars go by. What's he doing? I mean, what's he looking for? These guys are sneaky. And they're trained to be sneaky. I think they take naturally sneaky people and train them to be more sneaky, and then give them a gun to even allow the threats that they pose to further allow their sneakiness. It's disgusting. If I went to that church parking lot at midnight, just pulled my truck in there and just watched the cars go by, I'm sure the cops would show up and say, "What are you doing?" I said, "Hey, I saw you guys doing this a couple days ago. I thought it must be a good thing to do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. So I'm just following your lead." They probably say, take a hike, keep moving. You're on private property. You can't just park here in the middle of the night. That's what they do. John, the more I see, the more outraged I get. So I think the plan is to just go over and visit these cops when we see them. I had a trailer hooked up to my truck, and it wasn't convenient for me to do it. Or I would have pulled over and said, hey, what are you doing? I just want to make sure my money's being spent well. So what are you doing here? That's what I think we need to do. I think we need to visit these cops. And if there are 4 or 5 of you, traveling together, it'd be good to have you all visit and, video this thing, this encounter with them. We need to start saying no more. And it's working. It is working. Because Orscheln is now a nice place to go in Marshfield, Missouri. Because they cleaned house. They got rid of the employees that weren't doing a good job. And I think if enough of us start raising concerns and explaining to management why we're not going to shop there and what, I presented solutions. I said, here's what you guys are doing wrong. Here's the problems I have with doing business here. And here are the suggestions I have to fix it. And if you fix it, I'll come back. I complained that they took the 5% discount away, for loyalty shoppers. And I talked to the manager and I said, well, why don't you have it? And he said, well, corporate took it away. I said, okay. So why don't you reinstate it? He said, well, that's the corporate thing. I said, well, why don't you just do it anyway? You know what? They now offer 5%. If you're a senior citizen, you come in on Tuesday, you get 5% off. He did it. He did it. And I don't know if he got corporate permission or not, but it encouraged me to come back. Back to you.
There's a number of things we didn't get to the week prior either. And this is in the spy tech and control areas. And under control, there's a link called Edit and Delete. And this is scientists have figured out how to delete and edit memories. Isn't that sweet?
It's an outrage. It's an outrage. Well, I'm sure they'll say, well, for those who've had a bad experience, we'll just delete that bad experience and everybody will be happy.
So once they get that into full gear, you won't even be able to trust your own memories.
Right. And what about creating these super soldiers? And there's a bad village over there, and these guys are preparedness minded, and we can't have that because they're storing food and they think they're special, and they want to, instead of going on vacations like we're supposed to, they're taking those funds and they're buying extra food and seeds, and they're growing gardens, and we can't be having that. So go wipe out that village. These guys say, okay. If that's what I'm supposed to do, you say they're bad villagers. Oh, yes, sir, right away, sir. And they go wipe out the village, and they come back for reprogramming, and they get their memories deleted. What village? I don't even know about it. Right? That's what we're talking about, isn't it, John?
Yeah, and if that's not bad enough, the next one, altering behavior. You got University of Virginia scientists use synthetic gene and magnets to alter the behavior of mice and fish. So if they're successful in upgrading that to humans, guess what? With some gene technology, remember CRISPR that we've talked about, and magnets, they can alter behavior then. Wouldn't that be great for super soldiers?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And why are we so interested in destroying things? Why is that? If you look at some of what Adolf Hitler did, he wanted to build his country up. What if we wanted to build our country up? I'm not talking about build up for the lead up to war. What if we just wanted to have excellence in manufacturing, excellence in electronics, excellence in getting along with each other, neighborhoods where everybody kind of got along and it wasn't me first? John, I was talking to Joey last night, and I said, Joey, you know those magnets on a telescoping small wand that, if you drop something, you're working on an engine and you drop a nut or a bolt or something and you got to get it and it's really hard to reach. Well, mechanics have these they're about the size of a Bic pen, and they would telescope out to maybe 2.5 feet. And there's a magnet, a really strong magnet on the end. And you just take this wand and you can grab that nut or bolt or screw or wrench or socket or whatever you drop. And you could fish it out with this magnet. It's a really handy thing. Well, there's a new use for that type of device, except it's got this adapter on the end where you can put your cell phone. And there's a video of the cherry blossoms in Washington. So people are, if you want to go see the cherry blossoms, what you will encounter is people taking selfies. They're walking around with their cell phones on the end of these extendable wands. And they're taking pictures of themselves and videos of themselves. What kind of a nut wants to take pictures of themselves? And I said to Joey, hey, Joey, listen, I just took a picture of myself. Let me send it to you. I mean, what kind of vanity is that where we're so concerned with how we look and what we've done and where we've been and where we're going? And this is crazy. How about doing something productive instead of me first? And that's where we've gone. And I was talking with our son in the kitchen yesterday. He said, Dad, if you look at these sci-fi movies, science fiction, he said that when technology leads to collapse. When people get so dependent on technology they can't think, it leads to civilizations collapsing. John, isn't that what's happening around us? Didn't Bill Gates partially engineer where we are with the PC? And Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak of Apple? And then we have, the iPhone and the tracking, and now we can't even add, subtract, multiply, divide, spell, read, communicate, sit at the table and have dinner. John, it's all your fault. I don't know how you did it, but you hit my buttons today. We'll be right back. Class, I'm a survivalist, and my plan is to be independent of everything that I can so that supply chain disruptions have a minimum impact on our family. What's the first thing that you do when the power goes out? I've researched the best value solar energy system that I can find, one that's backed by the technical support necessary for the undertaking. The system's installed and is generating electricity right now with equipment purchased from IronEdison.com. You heard Brandon Williams, CEO of IronEdison.com, right here on USA Prepares. Together, we designed our system. In my opinion, our IronEdison.com system has more features, more value, and more potential than any other system I've found. We chose the Snyder Electric system with a hybrid inverter, charge controller, power panel, battery disconnect, and the system control panel. If you want energy independence, as we have, please consider calling the engineering team at IronEdison.com, 720-432-6433, 720-432-6433.
Are you worried about your mom or dad living alone in their house? Hi, I'm Joan London. Listen, I know how difficult it is to find senior care for someone you love. That's why I recommend a free service called A Place for Mom. They are the nation's largest senior living referral service. Call A Place for Mom today.
To receive free information on senior living communities in your area, call A Place for Mom at 1-800-704-6182.
A Place for Mom offers free one-on-one advice from local advisors and a personalized list of senior living communities you can visit. If you have questions about senior care for your mom or dad, there's a place for answers, A Place for Mom.
Call A Place for Mom in the next 10 minutes to get your free ebook on financing senior care as well as free information on senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-704-6182. That's 1-800-704-6182.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
Attention USA Prepares listeners. When you're on the road or have limited data or Wi-Fi, now you can listen to USA Prepares Unfiltered and Untapped at no extra charge on this non-federal phone number, 1-605-477-3249. Try it now to listen to USA Prepares 24/7 at no extra cost or data charges. These are not on federal lines. These are lines located on Indian reservations off the grid. Call 1-605-477-3249. No smartphones or internet needed. To hear USA Prepares Untapped and off the grid, just call 1-605-477-3249.
It's no secret that pathogens such as bacteria, viruses, molds, and fungus can inflict severe damage in the human body. Fortunately, a new and vastly improved silver solution has been developed. Supernatural Silver is a revolutionary broad-spectrum antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal solution that can be used inside the body as well as on the skin. Supernatural Silver is unique and superior to colloidal and ionic silvers, using a patented technology that is highly effective against colds, flus, infections, food poisoning, and yeast, in addition to many other pathogens. Supernatural Silver is scientifically supported, extremely safe, and is the #1 choice of thousands of people for immune system support. Find out how Supernatural Silver could change your life. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code HEALTHY for 20% off. That's supernaturalsilver.com. And like us on Facebook.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pileski of the Pileski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Captain John Ragan was thefinancialstateoftheunion.com. John, I just got off the phone with fuel oil company. Fuel oil, I'm talking about farm fuel, which would be used in tractors. Off-road fuel was $1.45 a couple weeks ago. Now it's $1.57. $1.57. And in other places near us, 20 miles away, it's $1.69. And so Monday, first of all, I'm talking about fuel prices going up. The second thing I'd like to talk about, maybe Monday we could spend about 5 or 10 minutes on farm economy. You know, so when you think about farming, let's talk about what it takes and the investment that it takes. And so some people may think farmers are really, really wealthy and they've got all these cows and, but what happens when 20 cows die? You just lost $16,000 easily, overnight. And that's hard to replace. So if we can, let's talk a little bit about that on Monday. Back to you.
I don't always have button pushers, but when I do, I save them for the last segment.
I know.
This week's button pushers, there's 2 of them. One, DARPA will pay you up to $130,000 to turn fridges and vacuums into deadly weapons. And the other, new police radar gun can catch people who text while driving.
Let's talk about DARPA. That's out of control. Absolutely out of control. Can you enlighten us to these appliances?
What Dr. Miller and I both say is, there's all this technology that could be used or has some applications that can be used to help people. But what our government does is it finds out ways of weaponizing it. And in this case, they're wanting to take common objects, turn them into weapons that can be used against our enemies, which, include people like those that believe in the Constitution.
Why would anyone want to buy products from U.S. companies that are involved in this spy technology, or foreign companies, like the television manufacturers that have put cameras and microphones in their televisions? Someone has to explain to me why we need a camera and a television, because I don't understand. And why do we need a microphone in a television? Because I don't understand. And why do we need a television screen on the face, the skin of the door of a refrigerator? Why do we need that? Why would we need a television on a refrigerator? That makes no sense to me.
Well, the refrigerator, keeps track of what's in the fridge too. Total control.
Yeah, and how long it's been in. Yeah, and who's watching this? Who has the time or the inclination or the desire to watch what's being put in your refrigerator, taken out of your refrigerator, how many times the door is open? Now, I can understand a refrigerator manufacturer saying, you know what, let's see how long this hinge lasts. Let's see how long the hinge lasts. Let's see how long the gasket lasts. Let's see the additional cycle time of opening the refrigerator. Let's do some, quality assurance. Let's do some research on how to make our compressors last longer, how to drive the energy cost down. I can understand that. But what I can't understand is the spying on us. What kind of sick minds would be interested in what we're eating?
Well, you see, you have to control the food supply. And it's like I say, once we get to the other side, if technology is still in place, then they don't want you to be able to barter. And of course, the big thing in barter is trying to get food. They want to know exactly where all the food is. And if you have unaccounted for food, you could get in trouble.
I wonder what the mayors and the governors' houses are going to be like during that period. Are they going to be guarded so that maybe the villagers can't visit them? Well, I wonder what that's going to be like. I have a feeling we're going to be able to know the answer to that during our lifetimes. Captain John Ragan, thank you so much for being with us. And class, if you want some seeds, I still have a few packets of seeds left. Sunday stamped, self-addressed envelope to Vincent, Finelli, P.O. Box 99, Grove Spring, Mo, 65662. Grove Spring, Grovespring, Missouri. How many of you want to learn how to dig up bugs, worms, and raise crickets for food? Do you prefer to eat them dried and crunchy or while still alive? Well, you won't have to if you can defend your food supply from predators. You may want to get an AR-15 kit from guns80.com and build your own AR-15 rifle from a kit. If you can legally own a rifle, you can purchase this AR-15 kit. If you're handy, you can complete the rifle in about an hour. The kit comes with all the parts you're going to need to build your rifle, but you'll need a drill press. And survivalists need one anyway. The Guns80.com team purchased the same used floor-standing drill press that I have for $100. You can too. And when you're finished, you'll have a paperwork-free AR-15 rifle, a drill press, drill bits, and the knowledge to maintain your AR-15 rifle, all for less than you expect. So if you want a paperwork-free AR-15 parts kit like mine, visit Guns80.com, Guns80.com, and let the unprepared have our share of the bugs.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-403-4885. That's 1-800-403-4885. 1-800-403-4885. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details in the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available.